I'm going to talk today about how I set goals and my journey and the goals I have set on this journey and how I've achieved those and the strategies I've used to achieve those goals in my life and been successful. So we're going to look at why setting goals are really important. We're going to look at some other tips and tricks to help you be motivated and be successful. So let's get straight into it, shall we? So how can you make 2022 a year of success? How can you set goals that are attainable and have hope for fulfilling those goals in 2022? I've got a few ideas for you based on my life experience, and the first thing I'm going to suggest for you is that you find a word that you want to represent you in 2022. So for 2020, my word was clarity. Making the effort to purposely clarify information and provide clarity would prevent other people getting frustrated with me. Without having all the information they needed to be successful, then I needed to clarify things. So it was a great word that really helped me remember to provide all the information I could to help somebody else be successful. And it stopped me getting frustrated too, because they didn't have thousands of questions because I gave them all the information they needed. In 2021, I was working on my master's, so perseverance was my word of the year, and I needed perseverance to continue with the study. I needed to deal with crises at home, testing for COVID and not being able to travel to visit family. It was a word that came to mean a lot to me in 2021. So this year, my word for 2022 is intentionality. Intentionality is my word for 2022, and we all impact the life of others. Shane Jackson, who is the owner of Jackson Health, and obviously Avant is under Jackson Health, he wrote a book called Fostering Culture in 2018. And he says in that book that all leaders impact people in the workplace, whether they do so intentionally or not. You need to be aware that we all impact other people's lives. So making that impact intentional rather than unintentional is key. How many of you have ever spoken abruptly? Maybe and only after the fact realised that the person on the receiving end of that discussion, your colleague or your friend, were upset by your tone. Maybe they were offended by your tone. Now, you may have unintentionally impacted their life. What if you were intentional with your messages and your words and your body language and behaviours, and maybe then your conversation would end in a positive way. So for me, this is something this year I am going to work on. So now question time for you guys. How many of you have words of the year? How many of you have affirmation statements? Basically, it's adding more words together to make a whole statement. I make affirmation statements too, because believe it or not, I am an introvert. And most people do not believe that of me. I'm really good at faking it till I make it, but I don't have a lot of confidence in myself. So I have affirmation statements telling me I'm okay. I'm enough. What I do is good enough. So affirmations are generally positive statements that help you challenge and overcome self-sabotaging thoughts. Every time you say, I can't do this, every time you say, that's not possible, oh, I can't pass the NCLEX, I can't be in USRN, they are self-sabotaging statements. So you have to decide, are you going to allow those to win, or are you going to start thinking positively and allow the tide to turn? Twist your thought processes in the opposite direction and start thinking positively, and you will be amazed at the difference it makes to your life. And yeah, somebody else is saying self-love. Absolutely true there, Anne. So affirmations, some people say they're unrealistic. They're wishful thinking. But try looking at positive affirmations this way. Many of us do repetitive exercises every day at the gym, or maybe a couple of times a week at the gym to improve our physical health. So affirmations really are like exercises for our mind and outlook. And if you frame them that way, you'll find it much easier to embrace them. Hopefully you will. So positive mental repetitions can reprogram how we think. Our thinking patterns can be changed with these positive affirmations over time. So we start to think and then act differently as well. Yes, Anne, I can and I will, Anne said. Absolutely great affirmation statement. So there's so much research about these things out there that most people don't even recognize. So evidence does suggest that affirmations help you perform better at work. Affirmations, just spending a few minutes a day thinking about what you can do in a high pressure meeting or a performance review, how you can center yourself for those meetings, help you calm your nerves, help you increase your confidence and improve your chances of success. So keep those things in mind. Instead of boo-hooing affirmation statements, think about how you can embrace them to make a positive change. Self-affirmation also mitigates the effect of stress. Do you know that psychologists, psychiatrists help depressed people and people with mental health issues repeat affirmations to help them get through that depression? A short affirmation statement in one research study that I found absolutely boosted the problem-solving abilities of chronically stressed and depressed subjects to the same level as those with minimal stress and depression. So keep those things in mind. It is key to happiness. In addition, affirmations stimulate the areas in our brains that make us more likely to affect positive changes in our life and in regards to our health. And as healthcare professionals, don't you think that's kind of key too? I do. So that's why we do affirmation statements. So, I don't know if you have any affirmation statements at all, but look at this lovely list of words here. You can use affirmation statements in any situations where you'd like to see positive change take place in your life. They might include times when you want to raise your confidence before a meeting, maybe control negative feelings such as frustration or anger or impatience. Maybe you want an affirmation statement to improve your self-esteem. Or maybe finish a project that you started that you've just let go by the by. Maybe you need an affirmation statement to say, I'm going to finish this project this month, this year, this fall, whatever season it is. Maybe you want to improve your productivity. Maybe you plod along and you want to jog a little more than plod. All of those things can help you. Or maybe it's just a bad habit. Make an affirmation statement to change those behaviours. Affirmations are more effective when you pair them with other positive thinking and goal-setting techniques as well. So we're going to look at other things that we can do. Before we move on, how many of you have an affirmation statement? I have the affirmation statement, I am enough. That is my affirmation statement. I am enough. I am what I am and I am enough. I look at that affirmation statement every single day. Vision boards are another thing that I use to help me have goals and focus on my goals. And it was only a few years ago actually that someone mentioned to me that a vision board is something that really creates a vision of what you want to achieve. That's really what it's about. And as you view it, it motivates you and reminds you of what your goals are for that year. So I've put a vision board on the shot here, and I want you to have a look at the pictures on that vision board. You can see that this person here, have you been anywhere yet? World traveller, Trinidad and Tobago. This person obviously likes to travel. And I just pulled this one off the internet so you can see it's in the public domain. This person wants to travel more. And their vision board says, I want to travel. And maybe Trinidad and Tobago is where they really want to go. You can also see on this picture that it says, the new car for you. So this person obviously also wants to buy a new car this year. Maybe that's their goal for 2022, a new car and travel. Other things there, cherish 365. That means find something to cherish every day. Find something to be grateful for every day. Reading room, I love that. This person obviously needs to read more books, or they don't do enough reading and they want to read more books this year. All right, so this vision board, you can see they also want to learn another language. It looks like Spanish to me, Español. So they want to learn Spanish. They want to make a difference in someone's life. They want to do more reading. They want to find joy in life and share joy, be positive around people, and they want to grow spiritually. So that's a great vision board that you can see. And think about what you want to do. Today, I actually bought a vision board with me. And this is my vision board from last year. Hopefully you can see it. I think you can see it in front of me. You can see it's a piece of cardboard with cutout magazines on. And basically, what I did was put all the things that I wanted to achieve last year in this cutout. And I did it with a group of friends. We got together on a Saturday afternoon and we sat and nibbled and chatted and we created our vision boards and then we shared them with each other, what we hope to achieve that year. So you can see on my board, hopefully you can see on my board, that I wanted to sing some more. I was studying. I wanted to grow stronger in my faith. I wanted to do the hard work. I wanted to be driven. And I wanted to find the simple pleasures in life. So that was my vision board for 2021. And you can see super easy, cut out magazine pictures, but it's a visual on your wall that reminds you that this is what my goal is this year. This is what I'm aiming towards this year. It's a great idea. So what are you going to do on a vision board for yourself? Can you create a vision board and make it exciting? Unless you articulate exactly what you're going to do, then how do you know you're going to do it? If you don't have a plan in place to achieve something, the chances are you won't achieve it. All right, so keep that in mind. I think I went ahead of my slide here. I showed my vision board already. So think about the things that you want on your vision board, and is it possible to do? Have you ever made a vision board? What will you put on your vision board if you do make one? Maybe the biggest thing on your vision board will be a US flag. And maybe that will be, that's my dream for 2022, to be in the USA, or to become a USRN, or to become a charge nurse, or to take on charge nurse shifts, or to be a preceptor, or to get certified in your specialty. Any one of those things could be on your vision board. It might not even be work related. Maybe it's going to be, I'm going to get up half an hour earlier every day to meditate. That can be on your vision board as well. Let's move on. So we've said in our vision boards that we might have things to be grateful for. We also said in the last slide that cherishing every day, finding something in every day to be grateful for or happy about or cherishing, sharing that joy can be a big part of how we feel internally. So I want you to start thinking about gratitude. And a gratitude journal is another way to start appreciating things on a daily basis. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to be a great big thing. It can be something really, really minor. So the things that you think that you want to be grateful for, you might be grateful that your alarm went off this morning and you got up in time to go to work. because yesterday the alarm didn't go off and you were late. Or you might be grateful that you don't have a sore throat today and you did yesterday. You might be grateful for your children, your husband, your family, or you might be grateful that you survived COVID. I mean, there's some things we're really grateful for, other things we're grateful on a lesser level for. So there's vast differences between gratitude, but you can find gratitude for something every single day. Now, this picture that I put up here is just straight off the internet. It gives you some examples of what you can be grateful for, but you can be grateful for anything. Friends, love, clothing, food. You know, sometimes I sit and look. In Florida, we get a lot of people that panhandle, beg for food or money. And sometimes I look at these people and I count my blessings that I'm not hungry. I count my blessings that I have clean clothes. And I count my blessings that I have a roof over my head. So they're the things I'm grateful for on a daily basis. And they sound kind of inane, but I am grateful for those. But sometimes it takes things to remind me why I'm grateful. I need to see other people that aren't as fortunate as I am to realize how lucky I am or how blessed I am. I have a lot to be grateful for. So what do you find gratitude in? And sometimes it is hard to be grateful for something. Maybe you're grateful the alarm went off. Maybe you're grateful that someone bought you a sandwich for breakfast. Maybe somebody else made you a coffee. That's something to be grateful for. Maybe it's never happened before. Maybe it has, but you can still show gratitude and write it down. The more you write down the things you're grateful for, the more you realize how fortunate you are in your life. The more you realize how fortunate you are in your life, the more positive your outlook becomes. And that's a true statement. It's powerful, isn't it? Let me see what else I've got here to tell you about. All right, so I mentioned on the last slide, one of the aspects that we were looking at was gratitude. So gratitude journal, I bought one with me today, but I'm going to go through my slide first and show you the rest of it. So gratitude journals proves its self-esteem, helps you sleep better, makes you happier, and reduces stress. So think about all the things that you're grateful for. And if you were to write a journal or download a sheet of paper from the internet that you could write on, what would it look like? What do you have to be grateful for? And while I pull up my gratitude journal and show you that, I'd like you to tell me one thing that you're grateful for in the chat. This is it. And so you don't have to have a journal, but just so happens that I do. You don't have to have a journal. You can write on note paper, but keep the messages somewhere. Some people put gratitude slips of paper, like post-it notes, in a jar. And at the end of the year, they pull out all the things they've been grateful for that year and reflect on those. So you just write what you're grateful for that day with a date on and put it in a jar and put the lid on. And at the end of the year, you go back and look at all the things you've been grateful for in that period. This is my gratitude journal, and as you can see, I'm not going to show you what I've written, but you can see these pages here that have words at the top. So this page says, how do you react when something really sucky is going on in your life? Are you impatient with people? What changes can you make in times of stress to be more appreciative of all the good things in your life? And you write them on that page. Another page says, when I started counting my blessings, my whole life turned around. What have you noticed a little bit about whatever changes you've noticed in your life since you started being grateful? So you write them down. Now, you can see this is a used journal. I have written in it over the past. But sometimes I say, I'm incredibly grateful for my daughter, cooking for me, ensuring I'm fed and nourished, and loving me unconditionally. I wrote that day. She obviously cooked dinner for me that day when I got home from work. I was very grateful for that. If I don't write it down, I forget those things happen and forget how lucky I am. I know you have all talked about measurable goals before. You've all heard of SMART goals in nursing. Obviously, we use them all the time. But do you actually use them yourself in your own life? Or do you think they're something that we have to do when we're writing care plans or things like that? We actually benefit from setting SMART goals ourselves. So I want you to think about SMART goals that you can set. And the SMART, you know, is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, relevant, realistic, and timely. Like, what time frame are you going to achieve these goals in? So let's move on and see what those goals look like. Have you thought about what you're going to be doing in 5 years' time? Where will you be in 5 years? Are you clear about your main objective to get there? Are you clear about what the objective at work is at the moment? Do you know what you want to have achieved by the end of the day? These are small goals, small time frames for goals, but they're still goals that are specific, measurable, and ones that we have to plan out if we want to achieve them. If you want to succeed, you need to set goals. That's a very short statement, but a true one. If you want to succeed, you need to set goals. Without the goals, you lack focus and direction. So goal setting allows you to take control of the life direction. Let me say that again. Goal setting allows you to take control of your life's direction. That's a powerful statement in itself. You have the power to change your life by setting goals. So think about it. It gives you a benchmark for determining whether you're succeeding, and it points you in the direction that you want to go. So having $1 million, let's say you got $1 million in the bank. Is it proof of success? It's actually only proof of success is if you wanted $1 million in the bank. If your goal in life was to practice acts of charity, having $1 million in the bank might not be success. You might need to give that $1 million away. So it depends on your goal, what goal you set, whether you're achieving it or not. That $1 million in somebody's bank account might just be proof that they've amassed riches. But if that's not their goal, then they're not attaining it, are they? So keep those things in mind. To achieve goals, you need to know how to set them, and that is why we use SMART goals. Specific, measurable, attainable or achievable, relevant or realistic, and time-bound or in a time frame. So I'm going to go to the next slide. Many of you have a goal of becoming a USRN. So let's look at specific measurable goals that you may want to achieve. There is absolutely no point in saying, one day I want to be a USRN. One day. Never comes, because you don't say a specific time. It might never come. You need to be more specific. You might say, I'm going to be a USRN by the end of 2022. Or you might say, I'm going to sit and pass my NCLEX by the end of 2022. Bucket list. This is my favourite. It's my favourite. I love a bucket list. A bucket list really is a wish list of things that you want to do before you die. And so a lot of people have put off, sorry, itchy nose. A lot of people have put off by this because it's like, it's morbid. I don't want to write a bucket list because it implies I'm going to die. Fact of life, we are all going to die. That's a fact. It's a fact of human life. We're all going to die. So what do we want to achieve as individuals in our lifespan? That's really what we're doing. And a bucket list can be major things that you want to do, and it can be minor things you want to do. And I'm a big believer in the minor things because sometimes big things on the bucket list can seem insurmountable. So the little things on the bucket list help you have a sense of confidence and a sense of achievement when you can tick off some of those small things. All right, so keep that in mind. So you can see on the bucket list, you could maybe become a nurse practitioner. You could try skydiving. You could visit all 50 of the US states. You might want to see Auroras Borealis or the Northern Lights. You might want to write a book. You might want to complete study. Whatever it is you want to do. It kind of sounds like a wish list, doesn't it? And that is exactly what it is. It's basically a wish list of things that you want to do before you can't do them anymore. So let's look at what else you might want to do. And this is why I say a bucket list. If you wanted to create a bucket list and start working on small tasks, I highly recommend the smaller things. Absolutely put the big things on your list, but that might be a 5-year goal or a 10-year goal to go touring Europe. Or it might be a 10-year goal to visit all 50 states of the USA. It's not going to be achievable in the near future, but it might be achievable to go ice skating. It might be achievable to try snowboarding. It might be achievable to go surfing on a beach. The things that you've never done before. It might be achievable to try eating a delicacy from another country. Now, Filipinos on here know balut, and maybe you eat balut quite frequently. I've never tried it. So that's on my bucket list. I need to try balut. Because other people do it, I have to say I've at least tried. I've also never been skydiving. I don't know whether I've got the courage to actually do it first, but there are places that you can go that you're in a building with a net around you and they blow air and you can pretend you're skydiving in the building. So maybe that's what I'll do first before I realise, yeah, okay, I can skydive now. I've practiced it, I've done it in this building, something I've achieved. Then now I know I have the potential to actually really go skydiving. So think about a bucket list. It helps you focus on the things you want to do in your life and check off small things on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. Personally, I have a bucket list that I try to do one thing every month off that bucket list. So truthfully, I went ice skating on Monday with my daughters. We haven't been for years and years and years. So that was one of the things that I wanted to do again with my daughters on their bucket list. All right, so we went ice skating. What are the things that you might think, there's a restaurant around the corner that you haven't been to, or maybe there's a field or a park, or a national park with a forest that you'd like to take a walk in that you haven't done. Write down at least 12 things that you would like to do in the local area this year and make a goal to set yourself to do one of those things a month. Hope is really important. There are some really famous people that have written quotes on hope. That's how important it is in our lives. And really, this is what I want you to take away from today. There is always hope for a brighter, better tomorrow. But no one is going to knock on your door and say, you've just won the lottery. No one is going to do that because you actually needed to buy a ticket first. And that is what life is about. You can't expect things to just happen for you unless you do something to help achieve it. So having hope and doing all these other things that we've talked about today, having bucket lists, having words of affirmation, having affirmation statements, all of those things, setting goals, you have to have hope to believe that they're going to happen. And without that hope, then you don't imagine it. All right? So in life, you have to take the steps to ensure that you have hope for the future. And that hope that you have for the future has the potential to become a reality. It's powerful, isn't it? Let's have a look at some quotes that we have on hope. The first one we have is from Samuel Smiles. Like the sun, which as we journey towards it, casts the shadow of our burden behind us. That's a powerful statement too. It's saying, look towards a brighter future. The light is in front of us. The shadow is behind us. It's powerful. Hope. What about our next one? Desmond Tutu said, being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness. That's the pin of light that you see in the distance. the light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope there in that light. What about this one? Once you choose it, anything is possible. That's powerful too. You have to choose what you're aiming for. You have to choose that, and then anything is possible. But if you don't choose it first, then nothing's going to happen. Let's have a look at the next one. Soren said passion for what is possible. Hope is passion for what is possible. How many of you have passion for what is possible? I know I do. I'm always passionate about what I believe is possible. And I'm going to aim to go and get it. And hopefully you will too. Let's have a look at the last one. Hope lies in dreams, in imagination, and in the courage of those who dare to make dreams into reality. I think that's a powerful one as well. The last slide on hope I'm going to read out today is a quote by C.S. Lewis. And I think you all know C.S. Lewis, famous author. And his quote says, "Remember, happiness is not by chance, but by choice. You are never too old to choose happiness. It's never too late to set another goal or to dream a new dream." Also, really, really powerful statements. If you have a dream, of living and working in the USA as an RN, now is the time to make this a reality. I did. I'm living my American dream, as are many thousands of nurses and physiotherapists and occupational therapists also. They have done so with Avant. So apply now and start preparing to live your dreams and build a hope for a brighter future if that is something that is on your bucket list. Do it. What's stopping you? Do it. If you are also part of the program or currently with Avant, then thank you so much for spending time with me today and listening to what I have to share on positivity and hope and planning for the future. I wish you the very, very best throughout this journey. It is a process, that is for sure. It is a process, and there are going to be hurdles, and there are going to be times when you wonder, what am I doing? And why am I doing it? But know that it is a process that we all go through, and I would do it again in a heartbeat to live my American dream. I'm here living it. I have absolute faith that you can achieve your dreams as well. Persevere. Remember the end goal, and celebrate small successes, and always hope for a better tomorrow.